What's going on, everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome on this Monday evening. Welcome to Low African Minds Presents New Eyes to See, y'all. So, today's subject, and correct me if I'm wrong, I got our host, Queen Maisha, many hats in the house, as well as King Sabir in the house, and I believe that our subject for tonight is Don't Miss the Signs from the Universe.
Yes.
So I actually didn't get a lot of time to do any in-depth research on the subject tonight. I'm actually literally just getting back from a little getaway with the wife.
I've seen the pictures. It looks very nice. Where'd you guys go?
We took a little tour up north, a couple of stops. One of them was, of course, the beautiful Lake Tahoe. And
oh, wow.
Right. So, yeah, and actually, there is a connection because to our subject tonight, which is signs from the universe. A lot of times there's signs in like your relationship and things going on where you actually need to take these type of breaks in your life. We like to call them pattern interrupts. So you interrupt the pattern that's going on in your life, like the daily rut, the daily routine. And when you're a couple that works together, I mean, we do everything together. So we're always in each other's face, even in the trenches. And when things get bad, it's us. So a lot of times you have to listen to those signs from the universe that may be telling you, you guys are snapping at each other. Or things just not connecting like they used to. I believe that's actually the universe trying to tell you it's time for y'all to do a pattern interrupt, something that you don't regularly do on an everyday basis. Get your mind, get the scenery, get the environment, atmosphere all switched up so you can change where your mind is stuck at and where the energy is stuck between you. So I believe that may connect with our subject tonight as being listening to our guides. But I'm going to let you all take it away. Queen Maisha, go ahead and let us know in depth what our subject is about tonight.
Well, there's really no firm definition when I did think of that topic. So when you're talking about, with going and taking a break with your wife, and before you do that, there possibly were patterns or there's something signs that you've seen telling you that it's time to take a break, it's time to focus on us, it's time to chill. So yeah, that goes along with what I'm going to be trying to get at. But I see it from of course from a spiritual side, where when you really stop focusing on the external and start focusing on the internal and start working on yourself, these things start happening, these synchronicities, these patterns, different signs, and it happens to all of us. I think even people that aren't in tuned, stuff happens to them, but they're just so, if you want to say it's still in a sleep state, that they don't recognize that these patterns are it's kind of like a path leading them somewhere. What do you think about that, King Severe?
Well, I feel that the signs that we see is playing is mainly through dreams, and we also see them through nature, and we also are affected by this due to the planetary alignment as well. And what I find out for myself is lately, I haven't been focused so much more on what's going on outside. But like Queen Maisha said, I'm more focused at this point on what's going on inside. Because the same chaotic stuff that's going on outside is actually an expression of what's going on with us inside.
Absolutely.
And now, at this point in time, we don't have any rites of passage or any uh, schools that's teaching us how to deal with the real problem, which is the spiritual problem. And, you know, back in ancient times, we had schools of thought that we would go to, and we would get different degrees. But now we're not getting these degrees. So the problems that we have that we see external is actually things that we are suffering from internally. And now when you look up the word universe, the universe just means the whole world, cosmos, the totality of existing things. And if we break that word down, you have uni and you have verse. Uni deriving, the etymology of uni derives from the Latin word unus, which means one, verse meaning song or line. So we get signs from the universe through nature, planetary alignment, and feeling. I know lately I've been more conscious to it, and I get a lot of signs from, like, my spirit animal is the owl. And sometimes I find when I'm going for my morning walks or something by the creek, I find all these owl feathers and things of that nature. And I just make sure that, you know, I'm in tune with certain things, in tune with the body, and just more focused on self at this time. That's my main thing.
So going back to
And
can I ask first, going back to those ancient schools, where did they teach people how to look to identify signs and what they mean?
yes, they did. So you would have these oracles, high priests, or tribal people in the tribe who uh who has certain knowledge of these things, and they've been taught this since birth. So when you're in tune with those, so our people at this time was more in tune with the planets. So when you became manifested, depending on how the planets was aligned, they already knew what your destiny was. They like, oh, this person is a warrior. This person is a priest. Oh, this person is going to be a hunter or gatherer. They already knew that. And now we are straying away from that. And no, we strayed away from it, but now during this age of Aquarius in this cycle, we're coming back into that knowledge. And
Okay.
and the good thing about the natal chart is it's just a copy of your contract that you made in the spiritual plane before you became into manifestation. And it deals with your past life, your career journey, karmic lessons, and what you will also be forced to learn on this plane. So, you know, that's how I see it.
Mm.
Now, with that, what you're supposed to learn, it reminds me of, and I mess the word up every time I try to say it, but the Bhaskliva, what? It's the Indian, basically, Bible, Hindu Bible, which their theory is that you keep coming back.
Oh, the Vedas.
Yes. Yeah, that's yeah. So they believe that you keep coming back until you get it right, and then that's when you reach the higher elevated states of consciousness. But if you keep repeating mistakes, you're just going to keep coming back until you learn the lesson, and then you move on to the higher realms.
Yeah.
Sort of like the same thing you're talking about, or?
That is true. That is true. That's
Yeah.
very much true. But
Now,
my thing is,
okay.
I also deal with, me personally, I deal with herbal medicine. Like, and what I mean by herbal medicine, I use shrooms. Like every 6 months, I'll take shrooms and a high doses of shrooms, probably like a quarter of shrooms, and I'll tap in and I'll get downloads and I'll have self reflection. Now, uh, me, I use it for, medicinal purposes. I've experienced acacia before, and every time I took these things,
And
these
now what is
medicines,
that?
acacia,
Mhm.
every time I took these things, I had a self realization
Okay.
or a moment where I had to look inside and reflect on things. So that's one thing I would advise to people. But if you feel that don't vibrate with you, don't do it. But I know it vibrates with me, and I know every time I deal with these ancient medicines that we've been using for thousands of years, they work.
Now you mentioned that.
And these are the things that they're not legalized.
Right, right? Is there a place?
Yes.
Is there a place where you go to get your herbs? Because you're local here, right? In the Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you get your herbs from so you can get
I'm
it?
in Sacramento, but I get mine in Oakland, and I'll share that information with you offline. I get it in Oakland, and I got people that that'll bring it up here for us.
Right,
Like, and when I do
Secretive.
it, yeah, when I do it, I like to do it in nature. I
right.
like to be secluded. I always take trips by myself. Like, I'll go somewhere in nature, and I'll just find a spot. I'll sit down. I will go into meditation for a few hours, and I'll start my journey of self reflection.
So I think when someone is going on that life journey of, because we're all here to try to find who we really are, and like I said previous times, people that are not aware of that might go in search of it in other ways: drugs, sex, the pursuit of money, harmful things, or sometimes things that aren't harmful, to try to fill that void that's left in us when we do come into this plane. And I think that void is left in us because that void is to find who we truly are. And when we find that, then we don't have that void. And I think the universe, once we turn our eyes and start realizing that we are more than what we appear to be, and that we can search deeper to find out who we truly are and what our true powers are. I think that's when you truly start seeing the signs from the universe. Me personally, I had a awakening a few years ago, and it was like, I describe it as breadcrumbs. It's like the universe was leaving breadcrumbs for me, and they were leading me to myself. Um, and one thing that would lead me were ladybugs. That's why I have a ladybug on my shoulder. Um, I was starting to find ladybugs in the weirdest places. Like, I'm vacuuming in the house, and there's a ladybug on the carpet. What the hell? I'm like in my car, and there's a ladybug on my dashboard. And I started noticing things, and this was around the time where I was really meditating every single day, 15 to 20 minutes a day. Um, and so I started being aware, and they were helping me again find myself and helping me to try to stay out of my head and try to stay centered, and it's all about trying to stay into the now. So, kind of tell you the history on this. So I was at a park with my daughter. She was really young, and I asked the universe to help me not have my mind wander, help me stay in the now, help me stay centered, help me realize the beauty that's around me. So I was standing there, my mind was wandering. and a ladybug landed on my shoulder and bit me. People are like, ladybugs don't bite. Like hell they do. This ladybug bit me, and that was a sign from the universe saying, hey, you asked us to help you keep your focus, and guess what? We're helping you. And then there's other signs too, like rainbows, you know. And
Rainbow.
once you
What?
start doing, what'd you say?
What did you say? I didn't hear it. I heard rainbow. Then I didn't hear
Rainbows,
rose.
rainbows,
Oh,
rainbows.
okay.
That's a sign from the universe to kind of center you. When you look at their beauty and how amazing they are, you know, you can't help but to center yourself. You know, and there's also other things too, like the synchronicities. I remember I was taking a trip to New York, and this is when the time again where I was really, really into my meditation, and I'm reading a book, and there was music on, and the word that I read in the book, when I said it in my head and when I was reading it, was the same word that came on the radio, same time, as if the person, whoever was singing, and me, we said the word at the same time. What is the chances of that? That's when you start seeing these signs and you realize there's more to this than we see.
Much
You
more.
know? And a whole bunch of other stuff. We just have to open our eyes. Or the wonderful thing I love is when you're thinking of someone and they call you. You know, at that moment in time, you're thinking of them, they were thinking of you, and you aligned. And it wasn't anything physical. It was all in the spiritual world. That was a sign. You know, there's signs all around, but you have to have your opened and have your eyes. Eric Rock just posted on the a message that 444, and thank you, because again we're talking about signs. 333 is my number. When I was going through this transition in my life, I would see 333. There was a night where I had an what's it called, outer body experience, where my body was asleep, but my spirit was not. And when my spirit went back into my body, I looked at the clock and it was 3:33. And when these things were happening to me, I was waking up almost every night or every other night at 3:33. So now, since I have this knowledge, when I do need to talk to the spirit world and get some answers, I'm driving in my car, I'll say, okay, well, spirit world, this decision I need to make today, if we're in alignment and agreement, this is the best decision for my life, I want to see 3:33s. And I'm not looking for it. So license plates, billboards, the speedometer, mileage on my speedometer. If I'm listening to music, maybe it's at 3:33, and I just practicing that. It really works. If the answer is a yes, I will get my 3:33s, and then I know this is the path I should take.
That's interesting. And I know early in my life, a lot of people in my circles, growing up in Christianity, it was shunned to do things like that. And I always wondered because, I have systems set up as well, even my sacred geometry cards and my crystals and stuff, I get answers from those. But then you go to these religions who say, that's a bad thing. But then even what really stood out for me was it Gideon, I believe, the one in the Bible who had to put the fleece out like 3 times for a sign from God. And it was like, okay, I'm going to put the fleece out here. If it's wet on this side and dry on this side, then that's your answer, yes, no, whatever. And it's interesting because, when you read the book coming in the day, well, it's called they call it the Egyptian Book of the Dead, but it's the coming of day. But their belief was that we're imprisoned in this physical thing here, and so if we're imprisoned a lot of times it's hard to get the communication. You know what I'm saying? It's just like being in prison. You can't just pick up the phone and tell your people, hey, what's going on, blah, 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 because you're in prison. So when we realize that we have to set up these type of systems to be able to communicate. It's almost like having that card that they give you for the collect calls, you know, and stuff like that. So you always have that to communicate with your people. Well, it works the same thing, so the same way. It's like the brother King Sabir was saying, the inside. Well, as below, as above, so below, as within, so without. It's all connected. It's all connected, and we need to stop passing judgments on how this person gets their answer or how this person makes their connection. And that's not according to this religion or that religion. You know, we didn't have religions in the beginning. It was just connection, spirituality, and the best way that you could make those contacts and connections. So then we have these religions come in setting all these rules and regulations and how things are supposed to be, and that's when you start to dilute the actual pure connection to the spirituality. That's my opinion on that.
That's true. Like me for instance, with my experiences, they were infallible. You can't just make that stuff up. The stuff that I experienced on this realm, it's stuff that you can't make up. Like when I just start coming into consciousness, I met this older sister, and I started dating her when I was about like 27, 28, and she was much older than me. And we started off with friends, and I was seeing someone else at this time, but I was still friends with her and would call her for advice. And I told her what I was going through, and she was like, yeah, this person got real bad energy, and I'm about to send my ancestor to protect you. Now, at this time, I was more on, you know, the Pan-African revolutionary militant. I had that way of thinking, which I still do a little bit, but, you know, I really didn't believe in none of that. That was like hocus pocus stuff to me. So I'm like, all right. So I remember I was asleep, and like early in the morning, I had this dream where in Ifa Yoruba, they call them Egus. And Egu mean ancestors. And when they do the ceremony dance to celebrate the Egus, they have this certain attire on them made out of like straw, right?
Right.
And mind you, I've never seen this before, right? Mm-hmm. But in my dream, I seen the Egus dancing around the fire. Right. And I called and I told her, I told her what happened. I said her name. I'm like, man, I had the dream, and it was some ancestors protecting me, and they had this and they had that on, and I was telling her how they looked, and she was like, oh, that's called the Egu. These are the Egu. This is in Europe, but this means the ancestor. Mm-hmm. And I started talking to her, and when I was talking to her, you know, I wasn't really ready for her spiritually, but the experience that I had with her, it helped me elevate. So the season that I was with her, she took me to the Baba. And when she took me to the Baba told me who was putting juju on me. My ex-girlfriend and one of her friends was putting juju on me. And the Baba let me know. He said, say some names of people that's close to you or you think would do some harm to you. And when I said the sister name, the Baba said, that's it. It's her and it's another sister. And I knew exactly who they was. And it was good that I knew that, because if I was going to church or something, I probably would have gotten them messed up. I probably would have like this is some real stuff, man. When you be messing with this stuff, right? It really works, because this is spiritual energy. This is energy that we're talking about. So it does work.
I want to make it clear to the audience, because people they hear what you're saying, and then they run to these places looking for a Baba, and you got to know the right Baba, and you got to know
right.
You know, they'll tell you, you know, you got to make a sacrifice,
right?
To get this curse off of you. You know, the Ansubu actually hit me on to a lot of that there is a gang of
It
people
is.
that run that because they know folks are ignorant in there in that respect.
Right, right,
They don't know
exactly.
a lot about it. But I recommend doing your research and know some of the signs. If this Baba Wawa or Baba I forgot how they say the full.
Babala.
Yeah. So if they're saying, oh, you got to make a sacrifice and it's X amount of dollars, or for me to get this and get that,
Right.
don't fall for it. Most definitely. But I like the fact that you talked about the Eagles also, because I know when they do their ceremonies, I think they're not supposed to touch you. Is that? I think I remember something like that in the ceremony, like when they're going, because they go in a trance and they go, pretty wild out. And I'm told that you don't want them to touch you because then that person who's being under the influence of the eagle is actually in those two dimensions. So he's in the dimension
Whoa.
between life and death. And so if you touch them, you can be grabbed by the wrong energy. That's what I heard. I haven't looked into researching it to know if that's all true. But from the people that taught me, I trust them enough to believe that that's pretty much what's happening. Because I've seen some of the trances, and it's funny because we see some of those same trances in church, but we don't say nothing. And
Ashe.
when they put it on, he's
Holy Spirit.
in the spirit or some stuff like that, and everything but the connection to Africa, everything but the connection to our ancestors, everything but where this was originally seen and witnessed. They tell us everything but that, and that's pretty bad for religion's sake.
It
Absolutely.
is. Even the book that they read, the Bible, the Holy Bible, the fire papers, is dealing with astrology, and it's dealing with the human body. And anybody who read the Bible, like, I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I read the Bible text, but when I read it, I decode it. I'm not one of those conscious people that be like, don't read the Bible, don't do this. Why are you complicating things? I think when you try to stray people away from things, sometimes you can't be water. You can't be fire. You have to be water sometimes. You got to go with the flow. If I'm talking to a Christian, I'm going to use the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna talk about Jacob's ladder, and I'm gonna talk about Jesus dying at 33, meaning spiritual ascension. I'm gonna talk about all that. I'm gonna use a metaphysical dictionary, and that's the first thing I do. Like me personally, I'm not gonna say recruited, but I've
Assisted.
I assisted a lot of people on their journey, and I'm still good friends with them today. And what I did was I used what they already had. I would use the Bible. I would use a metaphysical dictionary.
Right.
I would tell them the connection between Africa and Christianity. And that way it's much easier, because I think a lot of times we bash the Bible and we bash Christianity, but it's voodoo all through Christianity.
Exactly.
It's right there. So why would we complicate things when we have it right there?
Exactly, because there's a connection, and then people, like I've spoken to people, and like I say, I'll quote from the Bhagavad, the Quran, the Bible, wherever level you're coming from, and first thing people say, "Oh, brother, see, the reason you doing all that is because you confused." No, I'm not confused. Look in your Bible. Even Paul said, "I become all things that I may win some." So I mean, if you on that level, I have to meet you on that level.
It's a degree.
Right. I can't come out at you with cosmology and all this, and you down here in Catholic books of the Bible and all that. I can't. It's so much of a gap that you'll be like, man.
And that's why none of those. That's why they're not assisting nobody. That's why a lot of people have been in this for years, right?
Right.
And they family look at them and know they full of shit. A lot of times they family look at them like, this dude is full of shit. He come over here to these family functions and he talk all this stuff, but he cheating on his wife and he doing this behind closed doors and all that. No, when you come into this, you have to try your hardest to practice purity. And when you're a pure vessel, the universe is gonna bring people to you.
Absolutely. I want to say real quick, I want to say thank you, Jamaica, for sharing and for leaving some comments, and Cameron and Leslie. Thank you guys so much for listening. We really appreciate it.
Definitely. Cameron, what's up? What's up, Cameron? I've been trying to holler at you. That Cameron's actually one of the people who help me out every now and then with posting on lowerafricanminds.com.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Cameron.
Oh, thank you, brother Cameron. Thank you, brother. Thank you
Absolutely.
very much for your diligence to the movement. I appreciate you, brother.
Most definitely.
Now, I want to talk about the dreams. Dreams are very, very important when it comes to looking at I don't even want to say spiritual signs. I just want to say just signs in general that guide you. We all know when we're asleep, it's when we have the least resistance to the spiritual world, where they're able to actually tap into us, and we're able to connect with them, and they can show us things. I think it's really important to if you can remember, because I've ran across some people who say they can't remember their dreams. I know for me, when my dreams are most vivid is when the ones I need to really pay attention to, and kind of try to decode them, and not really rack my brain too much, but kind of let what's happening in the dream, kind of when I wake up, allow the spirits to kind of tell me, to help me decode my dream. And dreams can also be where you can connect with your ancestors and get answers from the answers that you need from to help you in this physical world. My dad passed a few months ago, and I've had a lot of my ancestors come into my dreams, and some of them still have the characteristics they had when they were alive. They look like they look when they're alive in my dream. And I don't really have them tell me anything that is a sign. I think it's just more, well, actually you could say it's a sign, just a sign of saying that there is something on the other side. There is help on the other side if you open yourself up and make contact and acknowledge them. But my dad, I always wanted my dad to come into my dream. And so one night I asked my dad, while I was still awoke, and, to come in my dream. And he did. And that was the most, one of the most beautiful things that has happened in my dream, that I was able to hug my dad, even though he's physically not here. A dream that I had that saved my life, which was absolutely a sign, was a few years ago. I was dreaming about driving a car on an icy freeway. There was snow, on the banks of on the side of the freeway. And I remember I was just slipping and sliding. And I woke up, and my intuition told me, pay attention to that dream. I went on about my day, had my daughter in my car. I'm, doing what we do, whatever that, for that day. And I'm driving on the freeway, and all of a sudden comes into my head, remember that dream. And when I remembered that dream, there was this SUV. I'm going maybe like 50. This SUV is going about 90 in my lane. And I just barely moved out of the way. Just barely. So dreams are super, super important when it comes to kind of decoding what we should be doing in this physical body. It's they're really, really important. There's some dream books. You got to make sure that they know what they're talking about. And Google is a perfect thing. My daughter, who's just 9 years old, when she has dreams, sometimes she's like, Mommy, I want to see what this dream means. So she's already learning how to find, different signs through dreams. So there's many ways. The spirit world, the universe is always talking to us all the time. It's just we need to be clear enough to get the message.
Most definitely. Now it's funny because you mentioned also that moment, and even when you're dealing with just the mental side and not even the spiritual side, it's that moment right before you fall asleep and right as you're waking up. Those are the key moments that your subconscious mind is most plugged in to what you're focusing on. So,
Mm-hmm.
like I believe a few episodes back, I mentioned to you, King Sabir, about the 42 principles. How I listened to them through the night, and that they manifest. You know, I
Yeah.
listen to that as well as a few things that I'm trying to manifest in my life. And it's funny because regardless of any of the efforts that I do, those things that I'm listening to start manifesting in my life. Regardless, it's like I was talking about some business things in my life, and it's like I didn't do any marketing, I didn't go out there, I didn't do nothing. It was just listening to these things, and then it was like it started flooding in. It's like all of a sudden I'm like, now I don't remember doing any marketing. I don't remember putting anything out. All I do remember is the stuff I've been listening to, and even I'll admit the first probably week, my belief, you're putting these things in that you want to manifest. You have to challenge your belief. If it's something like, oh, I believe the sun's going to be up tomorrow, that's something simple. We know, do think of something that's challenging to you. And so then when it comes, like it did come, then that's the connection. Because like there's no way this could have happened any other way. This is confirmation that it's actually working and it's actually connecting the subconscious, the mind, the physical, the spiritual, all working together to make this thing happen. And I think a lot of times us as a people also, we don't even ask for what we want because we're so much in belief that we can't get it that we don't even bother to even ask for it, and then we complain that we don't have it. So I think we need to practice, like the sister was saying, telling your mind, because we done had so much programming in the years of life of media and television. It's programmed in there. There's neurons in our head that are programmed to cause us to believe a certain way, whether it's true or not. We just believe it, and a lot of times we hold on to those beliefs because we don't want to admit I've been wrong all these years, believing something different.
Right, right. And I got a question, because this is a question that's been pondering. It's been on my mind for a minute, and like what I want to know is this: if a Christian believes in Jesus, now we know about the law of attraction and how energy works, and the principle of mentalism, how thoughts are things, right? If a Christian believed that if he prayed to Jesus, a miracle could happen with his belief, but he has to say, like, he believes in Jesus, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he has and he believes in Jesus he or she believe in Jesus with all they might, that they can manifest this. And you have someone who might be a Pan-African or something, and they just believe a little bit, or they might be a more Israelite that just believe a little bit. Would that Christian manifest faster than somebody who knows the truth but have little conviction in what they believe? What do y'all think about that?
It's all about energy.
Yeah, I believe. Let me see. The best way to put this, I read before that life is like a river, and so it's flowing regardless of you coming to that river with whatever you believe. So if I'm Muslim or whatever, and I'm coming to that river of life with a spoon, and you're a Christian and you're coming to that river of life with a bucket, there's laws that, regardless of what we believe, they're universal laws that tell us that you're going to get more out of that river than I am, regardless of what religion I'm posting, or because they're all connected to something. They're all connected in some way. I mean, and so regardless of if I'm calling it Jesus or you're calling it Allah, when it comes to that river of life, it does that part is at the set back on the banks while we both go to that river of life, which is always moving. It's moving regardless. Life is moving regardless of any of us. And it's going to do what it's going to do. And based on what you believe it's doing has really nothing to do with it. It's just like you can be a Christian and say that you don't believe in gravity. And you go on top of that building and we both, I'm a Muslim, you a Christian, we jump off, guess what? The universal law of gravity is going to be the final decision maker.
Ashe. Good analogy, brother. Thank you. Appreciate it.
That was a good way to put it.
Very good.
And Jamaica, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. She mentioned mugwort helps to get lucid. Now I haven't heard of mugwort. I think
mugwort. Mugwort.
Can you guys?
That's a herb.
Can you elaborate on what that is?
That's a herb.
I've heard of it, but
I heard about the herb, but I don't know the I heard about it, but I don't know the benefits of it.
Okay.
But I need to get lucid. All I do is pop me some shrooms and I'm good, man.
Everybody got their way, you know. So
yeah.
And that's the cool thing about it is we're all on separate journeys, but at the same time we're on the same journey. And I used to think about this when I was a kid. I was like, there had to be somebody that tried. Let's bring some nightshade, for instance. There had to be somebody that tried it and passed on the knowledge that nightshade is poison. So, but that was their particular journey. That was their purpose. But at the same time, it's connected to my purpose because now I know, hey, I ain't messing with no nightshade. So I think we're all on separate journeys, but it's all a benefit to everybody because if you're paying close enough attention to your journey, I think that's probably your purpose to be able to flow in that part, in that section for others that's, you know, they're on different journeys, but at some point they may, just like our children, at some point your child's going to come to this situation that you had to deal with. And it's on you to educate your child and tell them, hey, you know, don't do this because when this happens, that's going to happen. I've been there, I've done that. You know, I tell my kids all the time, they're like, Dad, you know everything. I said, nah, it's not that I know everything because I don't, but I've made a whole lot of mistakes. So I can tell you from those mistakes, and it may sound like knowledge to you because it really is factual. And, you know, it really happens the way I tell them that it's going to happen. Like now, a lot of my kids are reaching their 20s, and they're like, Dad, I would have just listened to you when you was telling me this, that, and that. Now I'm on my own. I got my own place. And everything you said about this, about that, it's like if I'd have listened, then I'd have been that much further ahead. And I'm like, you know, I told you, I don't know everything, but I made a whole lot of mistakes to be able to share with you that, you know, you don't want to do this because this is where that's going to end up.
Absolutely. Going back to the mugwort, Jamaica, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Go ahead. What were you saying, Sabir? Samaka. I was saying that the mugwort helps with lucid dreams, and you can buy it at a vegan festival. So I have to try that. I do chlorophyll, and I don't know if it helps with lucid dreams, but I know it helps with detoxifying your pineal gland to make it a little bit.
It helps with meditation.
Yeah.
And definitely with decalcifying your pineal gland because we've had so much in our diet that's killing our pineal gland and causing it to calcify. You know, just a simple thing like the fluoride that they put in the water and most toothpaste that people use, fluoride calcifies your pineal gland. So if you think back how many years, me especially growing, I don't need to tell my age, but as I grew up, the number one toothpaste was Crest, and Crest got a whole lot of fluoride in it. So you add that to all the years of Crest I was brushing my teeth with and drinking the water that's got fluoride in it as well. There's a lot of calcification to get rid of in my pineal gland, I'm sure. Even though
the showers as well. When you take warm showers, that when you take hot showers, that we call that the fumes, the vapors. It's not good to breathe in because the chlorine and fluoride in the water. Also, when you're taking warm showers, your pores open up. Now the fluoride is going inside your pores. Wow. So me, I take cold showers or lukewarm, and there's many other benefits to cold showers as well, like it boosts your immune system up and things like that.
Right.
So it's it's very good. We got to get back to nature and get back to our practices that really benefit us on this planet. We worrying about everything else. We so worried about, if I worry and put all my energy into every racial thing that happened to us, man, I'll be walking around here like a madman or a fool or just angry. So what I learned to do is not ignore the problem, but just limit what I put my energy into. Like CNN feeds us so much. If CNN is feeding us all this racial stuff, it ain't to our benefit. They never do nothing to benefit us. So if they feeding you all this stuff about Black people getting shot, and a woman, she's pregnant and she's watching a Black person get murdered, you have 355,000 memory cells in every molecule of water, and the womb is made up of 70 to 80% water. What do you think she's manifesting on this planet?
Fear.
It's watching that fear. You putting fear into your children. If your children is watching that, and the way I be hearing some Black men talk, it be sounding kind of weak when they like, I fear for my sons, or I fear being a Black man. Going, I'm not fearing shit. I'm going outside. I'm living my life, and whatever happens, happens. So
funny. That's funny because I was just talking to my wife how folks have been feeding into a lot of this media hype, and this recent situation in with Jacob Blake and the protest with Kyle Rittenhour. It's funny because folks didn't even, and even now folks are looking at that situation a certain way and not understanding. And I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed, but I believe that young dude is going to get acquitted of the murder charge.
Of course.
When you look at the facts, it was people incited from a situation where he was defending himself from the first guy, ended up shooting him. Then they come at him and they trying to beat him up with a skateboard. He pops them off on them. I mean, and when you really look at the facts of that case, it's self-defense. But we're so and geared to be mad about something, and some people just mad for no reason. They really.
But also,
go ahead.
Oh, I don't mean to interrupt you, King Taki. But also, we look in law. You have to look at intent. Now, his intent to go out there at 17 years of age, what is not the legal age to be carrying a firearm.
Exactly.
And going out there, he is in a wrong, but I feel that he will still get acquitted just to keep messing with the vibration of the people. And people are going to get angry and riot. And after they get tired of you rioting, and all they got to do is just shut all the lights off and your ass don't go back home. Or shut the water off. So
some of them
have to,
because they want to be mad because they can't pay their light bill and their lights already off. So they mad already. So they looking for something to blame it on. Man, I can't pay my light bill. It's Trump. It's they looking for somebody. No, it's you didn't pay the bill, bro. And I used to talk. I used to joke about that a lot because I used to hear it in church so much. Oh, the devil is messing with me. Done cut my lights off. Dude, you didn't pay your bill. Pay your bill and your lights will come back on. It ain't got nothing to do with no devil, no Satan, no nothing. Pay your bill and the lights will come back on, bro.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it looks like we almost to the end of our little segment here. It just went by so fast. It was such a good subject. So we'll go ahead and with our final thoughts from everybody, starting with you, Queen. Final thoughts about our subject tonight, and then we'll close with final thoughts from King Sabir. Go ahead, Queen.
My final thoughts about the topic of don't miss the signs from the universe is just start meditating. Start meditating, so when the signs do happen, you will have a clear vision and be aware of the signs that can lead you to help you in this physical world.
Well spoken, well spoken. King?
Influence. Don't let this chaotic, low vibrational media prey on you, because that's that's all they doing. They're manipulating your energy. They can't do nothing without us.
Exactly.
We control the universe. Our melanin is in tune with the cosmos, but they're using us to to fulfill their destiny. They're using high level sorcery on us. They using the stuff that we scared of on us.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right.
telling us to go to church, or telling us don't do that. That's bad.
Turn the left cheek.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy because we get angry at voodoo, right? Like me, my family is from Louisiana. I have a lot of Creole people and Cherokee. And what I find out is majority of them know what I've been talking about. Just didn't talk about it to me until I started talking about it. And I found out they practice as well. But the thing is, we healed a lot of sickness by going to nature and learning these herbs and dealing with nature. We didn't have no doctors back then. We were slaves curing diseases. So what I'm saying is, let's get back to nature, and let's get back to our ancient ancestral principles. Maki WAWWA, Ashe.
Maki WAWWA. Definitely a good show tonight. Appreciate everybody that came in on the room and participated. Definitely been missing getting in. Like I said, I've been tied up with a few things and got a little busy, so I took that little getaway with the wife, but I'm back. It's on. Definitely visit our website, lowafricanminds.com, to connect with us there, and definitely tune in next week. This show again next week, Monday, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for New Eyes to See. And that being said, thank everybody. Have a good evening and good night.
Have a good night.
Good night. Peace.